Hey good people, how y'all doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I am trying to get to 100 subscribers. I am almost at my goal. I greatly appreciate it if you guys could hit that subscribe button for your girl. It's free, it costs you nothing, and I would greatly appreciate it. Today I'm going to be giving you all my review on the Real Housewives of Potomac Season 7, Episode 5. Let's go. Guys, Ashley, Giselle, Robyn, Mia, they can't be trusted. All of these women, in my opinion, in the past have lied and are the most untrustworthy people on this show. Okay, those four, the most untrustworthy people. Mia trying to be Team Giselle with this whole Chris situation. She's implying that Chris also looked at her or was staring at her at Karen's event. I'm like, the man can't look at you. I mean, even though they showed that he wasn't, he can't look at you. Looking at you is an issue. Really. Not to mention the fact that every time these women lie and it's caught on film, these producers run that tape back and show exactly what happened. And we see with the Mia situation, girl, that man wasn't looking at you, not one time. So what are you talking about? But anywho, the episode opens up at Candace's house. She has invited Ashley over. And it's nice to see the two of them kind of get back on track. I was reminded later on in the episode that Ashley was the one who actually brought Candace onto the show. I totally forgot about that. Did y'all remember that? Maybe you did, but I forgot. I don't know. Ashley is sharing with Candace that Michael flew to Vegas a couple of days after getting a vasectomy. And I'm like, girl, you were upset, if I'm not mistaken, during the ending of the last episode for somebody sharing the fact that you and Michael are getting a divorce. And here you go running your mouth about him getting snipped. If you don't want people in your business, don't say nothing. Sidebar, as we're talking about Michael, I find it very interesting. A couple of days after he gets everything taken care of, he's on a flight to Vegas. If you know anything about Vegas, then you know what I'm getting at. Another thing that is crazy to me is that Ashley knows inside and out all of the stipulations for getting a divorce, what she should and should not be doing. It's like she has studied the book. She is ready. She is prepared. I've never filed for a separation. I've never filed for a divorce. So I don't know the whole situation and what goes into all of that. But I mean, Ashley knows her stuff. So Candace is talking to Ashley about the whole Chris and Giselle situation. She tells Ashley that Chris is uncomfortable being around the group. Why would he not feel uncomfortable? For me, I understand where he's coming from, and I would feel uncomfortable as well, because if someone like Giselle can take me just wanting to speak to her in private as me trying to make her feel uncomfortable or her actually feeling uncomfortable, I wouldn't know how to act around any of these women. Think about it. If you're him, you don't know, should you say hello? Should you not say hello? Should you go in for a hug? You guys saw how he was with Robyn a couple of episodes ago. He didn't even really want to embrace her because he's like, I don't know where we stand, nor do I know what you're going to accuse me of. And to me, his response to even Robyn in that way tells me that this whole Giselle thing is a bunch of crap. So they start to discuss rumors that they've heard about people in the group, including themselves, and Candace tells Ashley that she actually heard that Ashley was trying to hook up with a hockey player. So upon Ashley hearing this from Candace, she falls out of her chair on the floor. She's turning red. A whole bunch of stuff is happening. I'm like, what is going on right now? Apparently, Candace definitely outed her. And if this is true, and let's say Ashley did hook up with the hockey player, then it's really clear that perhaps she has moved on from Michael. They also share some information about Karen and Ray, and I'm just like, I don't have time to hear nothing about Karen and Ray. They seem okay to me, so let's move on. Next, we're at Mia's house. She and G are at home with the kids and they're eating dinner. Mia reveals that she's opened up clinic number 25. Good for you, Mia. It's good to see that they have their businesses and that their businesses, at this point in time at least, are growing. So G brings up this whole mystery around Mia's health. And I feel like, and you guys let me know what you feel, but every time they bring up anything about Mia's health, whether it was her mother or G, Mia looks like she don't know what they're talking about. And that kind of plays into, I guess, why people feel like she's making up this whole, I had this whole cancer scare situation, because it's like when they bring up your health, you should know 100% what they're talking about. And she just doesn't seem like she knows what they're saying when they're speaking to her. So I could kind of see where people might feel a certain type of way about this whole thing with her. But as I've said in previous reviews, I am not going to sit here and say that she's lying, because I just don't know. And I feel like, cancer is a serious thing to make a false accusation about. Now we are with Giselle and her twins and her daughter Grace, and they are going to get their nails done. I love to see Giselle's girls. I think, considering who their mother is, how messy she is on this show, and even on other housewives shows, I feel like the children really humanize the parents. And it's like, okay, there must be some good with the parents because the kids are so sweet. Honestly, I mean, I think her kids are so sweet. So they're getting their nails done. Giselle is planning a sweet 16 for the twins. Can you believe that these little girls that we saw 7 years ago are going to be 16? Every time I see these kids on these shows grow up, for example, Gia from the Real Housewives of Jersey, and then you have Candy's daughter, Riley, from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I mean, like, Riley, we saw her at what, like 5, 6 years old, and she's already in her second year of college. So it's so crazy to see them grow up right before our eyes. Giselle's planning their sweet 16, as I mentioned before. They're talking about that. Now, I thought it was disgusting, as her daughter points out, when Giselle sits down to get her feet done, she picks up the towel and wipes her face. Like, Giselle, what are you doing? That is so disgusting. You couldn't ask the people for a paper towel or a napkin? Ugh. Now we are over there with Robyn. She is out and about visiting a prenup attorney. You guys know that she wants Juan to sign a prenup, or she's looking into the possibility of them signing a prenup. And I just think it's so interesting that she's going hard about the prenup when she hasn't even set a date for their wedding. And I don't know if it's because she wants to get the prenup ironed out or what, but it's like, Robyn, what are you doing? So she says in her confessional that Juan is thinking the worst when it comes to the prenup, whereas she is trying to prevent it, meaning she's trying to prevent the worst from happening. What could be the worst? People fight about money all the time. Juan did say in the last episode that he makes more money than Robyn. Up until this particular scene, I really wasn't understanding what Robyn's issue was pushing this whole prenup, until she says to the prenup attorney that she wants to know a little bit more information about having an infidelity clause. And then the light bulb went off in my head. This is what this is all about. She's scared that this man is going to step out on her again, which is kind of crazy to me because y'all have been together for years after your divorce. Has he been cheating on you recently? Like, what's going on? It's very odd to me. So Karen, Wendy, and Ashley meet up. They're going tulip picking. Ashley, again, is sharing this information about Michael getting, snipped. And I'm like, Ashley, every chance you get, here you go talking about what this man is doing. We don't care. Karen lets Ashley know that obviously they see that her divorce has made it to the headlines, and Ashley lets them know that she's not ready to talk about anything just yet. Karen says to Ashley, so we're really headed to divorce, aren't we? And Ashley says yes. And Karen is like, that's amazing. I don't know why that made me laugh, because I know that Karen wasn't trying to be funny or anything like that at this moment. But it just made me laugh. She's like, that's amazing. It's just like, what? So anywho, Karen tells Wendy that she was disappointed not seeing the boys at Robyn's event. Wendy says, of course, I'm not going to have my minor kids go to her outing without me, which of course, absolutely. I totally agree with Wendy. Like, we're not doing that. Karen says to Wendy that she and Robyn will not get to a good place if they don't put their emotions to the side. And of course, Wendy agrees. Wendy says in her confessional that she was hurt by not being invited to Robyn's event at first, but she can receive that she has the tendency of being perceived as condescending. They then show flashbacks of Mia and Ashley letting Wendy know how the other ladies might feel about her being condescending. So because of all of this, Wendy wants to invite the ladies to a burning session. So she's explaining to Karen and Ashley that she's going to send this text inviting all of the ladies. And for whatever reason, Ashley is like, well, I think you should send a separate text to Robyn, trying to let her know, listen, I want to get into a better place with you, blah, 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 blah. Wendy's like, nope, I'm not sending her a separate text. I'm going to send everybody the same text so nobody is caught up on the words that I use in the text, which I totally agree. I don't even understand why Ashley is making that suggestion to Wendy. I feel like, listen, if she's sending a group text, that means all are welcome. And like Wendy said, nobody can perceive her to be saying one thing or making it seem like she's trying to make an issue. Next up, we are at Candace and Chris's house. In Candace's house, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, her house is stunning. They were showing clips of the house when she was meeting with Ashley earlier. And Candace really did a good job with the decoration and stuff like that in her house. I really think her house looks nice. So you guys know Candace's sister is living with her temporarily. She lets her sister know that she is doing a deluxe version of her album, Deep Space, and that the rapper Trina is going to be doing a feature on the album. Candace's sister doesn't know who Trina is. So Candace literally has to Google Trina to show her sister who this is. I don't know how old Candace's sister is, but I'm feeling very old in this moment. Like, how you don't know who Trina is? Candace also shares with her sister the invitation that Wendy sent for her burn session, and Candace's sister feels like Wendy has good intentions. Candace lets her sister know that she definitely doesn't want any beef with Ashley, especially because Ashley is going through her divorce, which I think is very big of Candace. We know that she and Ashley have had several issues in the past, and I am really liking the new Candace that I'm seeing. I feel like she's matured a lot since last season, and I hope I'm not speaking too soon, but I do see the growth in her, and it is really refreshing. Wendy and Ashley are on their way to the burn gathering. They have a separate car from the rest of the ladies. Wendy actually sent a Sprinter van to pick up Karen, Candiace, Robyn, Giselle, and Mia. While on their way to the event, Wendy lets Ashley know that she was recently in the hospital, I believe, because she had kidney stones. Wendy says that the doctors believe the kidney stones are because Wendy is not drinking enough water. So Wendy also says that because she works so much, she doesn't want to have to go to the bathroom, therefore she doesn't drink any water. Wendy, as smart as you are, that is very dumb. Okay? Like, can I just call a spade a spade? Like, you're a mother, you're a wife above all other things. If nothing else, think about your children. Kidney stones are very painful. You're telling me that you refuse to drink water and are risking having to have these kidney stones all because you don't want to go to the bathroom? Wendy, we have to do better. Wendy also reveals to Ashley that her mother had been rushed to the hospital. She was at a routine doctor's appointment. They saw in her lab work that she had higher levels in certain categories or whatever, and they sent her right to the hospital. Wendy says that she had an epiphany and realized if she does not start taking care of herself, she's going to wind up like her mother in another 30 years. Absolutely. But I hope that you take heed and you really do take care of yourself. After a 1 hour and 45-minute drive, they finally arrive at the Blue Mount Vineyards, and the rest of the ladies are not that far behind. When the rest of the ladies get there, Giselle steps off the Sprinter van and she's trying to do her little walk, and she winds up tripping, which I thought was really funny. It's like, Giselle, you tripping over your own feet. Candace says in her confessional that she feels like this whole thing is going to be a disaster, and we all remember what happened the last time that Candace was at the vineyard. Her and Monique got into it, and it was really ugly. So when the ladies do come inside, Wendy welcomes all of them, and Giselle, being as nasty as she is, she just walks right by Wendy and says hello to Ashley. Robyn looked like she was trying to make eye contact with Wendy to kind of say hello, but she eventually just followed Giselle and walked in as well. As they're sitting at the table, Giselle brings up the memes that she saw on social media regarding Ashley and Michael's separation. She asks Ashley if she's okay. Ashley said yes. It's nice to know that a lot of people are supportive of her, but it's also not nice to see that it's at the expense of Michael, because you know people are coming after him. Listen, Michael did it to himself. If you were so concerned about how people were perceiving your husband, then maybe you should have stopped being on this show. So Giselle says in her confessional that she can relate to how Ashley is feeling, saying that it's not a good feeling when everyone feels as if your husband is a creep. I find this statement to be very interesting, Miss Giselle, because you had no problem trying to insinuate that Mr. Christopher is a creep. It made you feel uncomfortable. I mean, the hypocrisy. So Wendy explains to the women what the burn session is. She lets them know they're all going to get a notebook, and whoever is in the hot seat, the person will share what they feel about them, and then you will burn the paper afterwards. The goal is to basically take ownership of what the perception of them is and try to work through some of the issues that they might have with each other. So Giselle says in her confessional that she has known Wendy for 2 years and she has never seen Wendy be accountable for anything. And I'm looking at Giselle, well, girl, we've known you for at least 7, and we can say the same about you. So what's your point? Okay? In Wendy's confessional, she also says that Giselle needs to take accountability. And then they show flashbacks of Giselle basically trying to make it seem like Eddie was cheating on Wendy. So Wendy goes first, and she also adds that the ladies can say something positive as well to each other if they please. In Robyn's confessional, she says that she has nothing positive to say about Wendy. Okay, Robyn, now I remember when Wendy first came onto the show, you really liked her. And it wasn't until you and your little buddy Giselle over there started to make it seem like Wendy was changing her appearance to please her husband. That's where all of y'all went left with Wendy, okay? If y'all would have just kept your mouth off her husband and off her marriage, y'all would all still be cool to this day. But because you have to be messy and make storylines up and try to make other people's storylines your storylines because you don't have anything going on, this is where you find yourself. So pretty much Karen, Candace, and Ashley give Wendy positive, I guess you would say, affirmations or say something positive to her. When it's Mia's turn, she says sometimes Wendy is dismissive. And then they show the reunion flashback from last year where Mia is trying to say something and Wendy's like, "Are you talking? Shut up." I am sorry, but when they showed that flashback, oh my God, that was funny to me. Okay, say what you want, that was funny. So Wendy took what Mia was saying pretty well, and she, of course, burned her paper, so she wants to move forward. Mia says in her confessional that she really wants to like Wendy, but Wendy is really hard to effing like. She thinks Wendy will receive what Mia has to say because she feels as if Wendy wants to be friends or needs friends. Okay, Mia. And you, every chance you get, you need to be messy. When it's Robyn's turn, she says that she and Wendy are like oil and water, and she is fine with that. So Wendy's like, okay. And then when Giselle goes, of course, she diddles what Robyn says and also agrees to a certain extent with what Mia is saying and tells Wendy that for a year, Wendy has been on the I hate Giselle train. And then when Wendy saw Giselle at Karen's party, she tried to give a fake hug. So she, meaning Giselle, is good on Wendy. Ashley says to Wendy, "Did you hear what she said?" Ashley, Wendy's not hard of hearing. She heard what she said. I think people always are looking for someone to be reactionary when someone says something that maybe you don't want to hear, but you can see like Wendy is trying to hold it down and trying to really work on herself. So I don't feel like she has to respond to everything that someone is saying. Wendy tells Robyn that she owns her part in Robyn feeling like they are oil and water. Candy says to Wendy that Robyn has been specific on what her issues with Wendy are. Wendy then says she can only speak about what Robyn put on the paper because Robyn didn't say anything else. Then here goes Giselle. She's getting all loud and saying to Wendy, "You know what you did to her?" And I'm just like, Giselle, girl, please close your mouth. Shut up. Nobody is talking to you right now. And for me, I mean, I'm sorry, but what did Wendy do to Robyn exactly? Candace then says that Robyn needs to tell Wendy exactly what the issue is. So here goes Robyn. She says that she's mad at Wendy because Wendy was saying that Robyn was trying to fight her at Ashley's dance events, and that Wendy saying that is very dangerous. Robyn says that she's not an aggressive person and she doesn't want to be associated with that. Wendy lets Robyn know that is what she felt that day, and that's what Robyn did. Ashley wants Wendy to dispel the whole thing, and Wendy's like, "I'm not going to dispel anything because this is my feelings. This is what I perceive to happen." So Robyn gets on the phone and calls her bestie Sharice. She asks Sharice, did she, meaning Sharice, Charisse try to hold Robyn back from getting at Wendy. And Charisse says, no, I never held you back. I never touched you. And of course, the producers showed the flashback. And sure enough, Charisse is not only holding Robyn back, but she's kind of like pushing her back a little bit. So Robyn, what are you talking about? Girl, the lies. So when Robyn asked Charisse that question on speakerphone, of course, Charisse is like, no, which of course is a lie because we've already seen the clip. And here goes Robyn and Giselle like getting loud at Wendy saying, see, whatever they were saying. It was getting all loud and rowdy with Wendy, trying to get a reaction out of her. And Wendy could not be bothered with any of it, okay? Wendy, once again, held her composure. So Wendy is looking at them like, why are y'all yelling? Can y'all calm down? Robyn starts to not make sense. So she's like, I don't give a F. I don't give a F. I don't give a F. And she keeps saying this. And then she finally decides it's time for me to get up and walk away, which I think is for the best. So Karen is trying to figure out why all of the screaming was coming from Giselle's side of the table. And Giselle's like, well, I just talk loud. I just want to be heard. Okay, Giselle. Ashley tells Candace that a friend was with her at Karen's event and that this friend said that Chris was trying to hit on her. So here we go with this foolery again. It's like, Ashley, it wasn't satisfying enough to say that Chris was trying to hit on you in the DM. Now you're trying to drag your friend into it. And why are you telling Candace this now when you were over her house and said nothing? Also, didn't you say just a couple of episodes that you wanted to pull Candace to the side and tell her things because you didn't want it to be said in front of the group and you wanted to give her the same respect that she gave you when she had that information about Michael? But here you go saying this in front of the whole table, including Giselle. Really, Ashley? Very, very messy. And of course, Candace brings this out. She's like, you were at my house. How come you didn't say anything then? So Ashley says, well, I didn't find out until afterward. Oh, how convenient. And what exactly was Chris saying and or doing to this friend that made her feel like he was trying to hit on her? Because the gestures and stuff that you're showing doesn't look like it's anything there. In this particular moment, I'm reminded of what Candace had said earlier in the episode when she and Ashley were together at her house. And she was basically saying that she's been around, meaning Candace, I've been around Giselle for some time and I know how Giselle comes up with these stories and basically tries to lie. During that conversation with Ashley at the house, Candace says to Ashley, I know you know what I'm talking about. And of course, Ashley doesn't confirm or deny. And I think the fact that she doesn't deny is even more important than her confirming it because you know exactly what Candace is talking about when she's saying this. You know that Giselle makes up these stories. And now here you go helping her do her dirty work. So then Candace is like, okay, so you found out about this after the fact, after you and I were together at my house. How come you didn't call me? How come you didn't text me? Ashley's trying to say, well, I figured you would want to hear this in person. No, you didn't. Stop your lying. You're doing this because you are a messy, some kind of person, okay? That's why you're doing this. Candace basically tells Ashley, I gave you the respect and told you privately what I had learned about Michael because I wanted to be respectful of you. And then Ashley says, well, you always want to call Michael a predator every which way. Candace then says, is it not documented that Michael is actually a predator? And I'm like, I know that's right, Candace. Remind her of what everybody already knows. So Ashley's like, well, it's proven not to be true in the court of law. Okay, Ashley. Candace then says to Ashley, you don't have enough going on in your own lives, so you guys want to bring drama to my door. This is now the third time that you guys have tried to say some BS about my husband, and I see a pattern. So then Ashley brings Mia into the mix, and she says that Mia says that Chris was staring at her and making her feel uncomfortable at Karen's event. So then Mia chimes in right away and she says, well, I didn't believe it was sexual or anything like that, but he was looking at me. So Mia, if you didn't feel like it was sexual, why did you find the need to bring it up? Like, couldn't you just have kept your mouth shut on this one? So when Mia says that, Ashley is looking at Mia like, girl, you're supposed to stick to the script, okay? You're going off script here. Ashley's whole point is to try to make it seem like Chris has a little problem with looking and making women feel uncomfortable. And Mia's basically saying it wasn't that, it was just the fact that he's just staring at me. So that kind of backfired on Ashley a little bit. So Candace says, Chris is not doing doing any of these things to anyone. And like I said in my previous reviews, Candiace knows her husband. She knows that the behavior that they're trying to say he has, he does not have. That is not him. Ashley then goes on to say, well, the pendulum swings both ways. It doesn't feel good, does it? I see exactly what you're up to. Not that I didn't see it before, but you kind of just outed yourself, Ashley. You're trying to get back at Candiace for her consistently shading you and your creep of a husband. And that's what your issue is with Candiace. So in Candiace's confessional, she says, I should have kept my good eye on that full bust ASS forehead B. I knew she was no good. When Candiace said that, I almost fell out. Ashley then says to Candiace, if you want to turn a blind eye, just say so. So Candiace says back to Ashley, well, you should know. And I was like, ooh, child. Go ahead and read her, Candiace. Ashley, you should have just sat this one out, boo. Candiace is too much for you, honey. So Ashley, in a last-ditch effort, then says that Chris has been in some other people's DMs that she's heard about. And I'm like, girl, bye. Shut up. Candiace is jumping right up on that butt, and that's the best thing that you can say. Oh, I've heard that Chris has been in other people's DMs. Well, how come we haven't? Okay, because I would think those receipts are all over social media if that is the case. So guys, that's pretty much the end of the episode. You all let me know what you feel about this Candiace and Ashley thing. I just think it's all made up, and the creator of the drama is Giselle. And it's really sad because you are messing with people's families. If Candiace was a gullible person and someone who really didn't know her husband, could you imagine this being untrue? What this could potentially have done to her marriage and to her relationship with her husband? You just don't do that. Like, at least with Michael, nobody is saying anything that we haven't seen or heard him do, right? Everything that's been brought out about Michael has been on the TV. We've seen it with our own eyes. Nobody has said that Chris has tried to come at them or been inappropriate up until now, because none of these women have anybody else in the group that they can go after. And that's pretty much my take. Thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.